What's up, YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. And in today's video, I'm just giving my Week 13 recap of all the college football games that happened this Saturday and on Friday and Thursday. But if you haven't, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And by doing so, it greatly helps out my channel and it helps me grow as a content creator. A lot of football happened this weekend, and there's some upsets that happened. And I'm gonna just go ahead and start off on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. Mississippi State beat Ole Miss. They went on the road in Oxford and beat an Ole Miss team that was pretty good this season. And actually both teams were pretty good. And Will Rogers, uh, they went in there and got the victory. It was a close game, really, really good game Saturday. And we'll just click on the stats. We'll just read a couple of things. Like I said, Will Rogers, he threw for 239 yards, 2 touchdowns. Had a great day passing the ball. Uh, Marks, he had a good day on the ground. He had 76 yards with a touchdown. But it was a close game. Ole Miss could have came back and won the game. Jackson Dart, he had a great day. He threw for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. And both of these teams coming in were kind of identical, as far as, points per game and all of that and stat-wise. But Ole Miss defense played really, really well early on. But Ole Miss came back and won the game. And hats off to Mike Leach. He did a phenomenal job with this team this season. If I'm not mistaken, I think they're 8-4. So Mississippi State has did some improvement, considering that their air raid offense, he had a rough start at first, trying to get the offense to click, but Will Rogers broke a lot of records there at Mississippi State, and definitely one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. Jackson Dart, like I said, got better over time. That Ole Miss rush attack was really, really good, but Mississippi State was able to edge out that victory in that game. So that was a good game. Like I said, Ole Miss lost 22-24 to Mississippi State, but that was a very, very good game. Next game we'll talk about is Friday's game. I'm trying to find it. It was Florida State versus Florida. That was a great game. That came all the way down to the wire. High-scoring game. And you really didn't know who was going to win that game, but I'm trying to find it, guys. I can't find it right now. But I know from watching the game, Jordan Travis, that guy is a beast. I didn't realize he was that fast. He played a good game. He was basically, there it is. That was a really, really good game. Florida State won 45-38. And like I said, he had a heck of a day. I'm going to look at his stats. Yeah, he passed for 279 yards with 1 touchdown. But he was the second rush behind Trey Benson. Trey Benson had 111 yards on the ground with 3 touchdowns. But Jordan Travis had 83 on the ground with 2 touchdowns. That guy was electric. I mean, the way he was able to evade, pressure. It was at times where Florida seemed like they was going to get a sack, but he wiggled out of there, and he has in my opinion, one of the best like upfield speeds, man. Like when he hit that corner, and when he gets north and south, man, he just gone. And that guy is a problem, man. Jordan Travis, he's going to be, I'm not sure if he's a sophomore or a junior. I'm not sure what he is, but if Florida State able to get him to come back, boy, watch out. Mike Norvell is doing a heck of a job at Florida State. They look like they're trimming up, man. They're trending up. Definitely a team to look out for. But if I'm not mistaken, they're in the Atlantic Division of the ACC. So Clemson's gonna have to look out, and I'm gonna get into that game. But Florida was able to get Anthony Richardson. He had 198 yards with 3 touchdowns. At Florida run game, though, Travis Etienne's younger brother, that guy's a beast of a player. He had 129 yards and a touchdown. So then plus Montrell Johnson, 85 yards and a touchdown. That Florida team is really, really good rushing the ball, and they got 262 rushing that game. And they did a pretty good job, but in-state rivalry. Florida State got the victory. They got bragging rights. And like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what Florida State does in the future. They're looking really good, man. And, Mike Norvell's getting them back on track. Billy Napier, on the other hand, he has some work cut out for him. In his first season, he got some things he needs to fine tune with Georgia, but I mean not Georgia, but Florida. But I think he's going to do fine. He's a great recruiter, and it's a lot of talent coming out of the state of Florida. So it's going to be it's going to be fun watching that recruiting, uh, game that Florida got. You got Florida State, Florida, Miami. Miami's going. They haven't had a good season, but a lot of good schools in Florida. So Florida State's looking really, really good. North Carolina State beat North Carolina. They beat them by 30. They went to 2 overtimes. That was a fun looking game, and North Carolina looked like they was going to win it, but North Carolina State upset them, because North Carolina, I think they was ranked number 17 at the time. So North Carolina State team that's been up and down, but had a chance to beat Clemson early on in the season, but had a really, really good defense, but they was able to beat North Carolina, so that was a good matchup. UCLA beat Cal 35-28, close game. Like I said, UCLA was a game. One of the teams you was looking at towards, in the Pac-12, and one if they was going to be able to compete. They definitely was a team that competed in the Pac-12 this season, and but let me look at their current record. I think they're 9-3. That's pretty good though, guys. They did a phenomenal job over there. But California's not really that good. So considering that their game was close like that, makes you wonder. But UCLA, definitely a team that's getting better over time. Texas beat Baylor 38-27. They beat them pretty good. The game seemed like it was close at first, but Texas was able to pull it out. Let's see. Quinn Ewers, did he play the game? Yeah. Quinn Ewers, he passed for 194 yards. He didn't record a touchdown, but boy, the run game. Bijan Robinson, one of the best running backs in the league, 179 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns. And then Johnson, he had 77 yards for 2 touchdowns. Quinn Ewers got a rushing touchdown, so they got 5 rushing touchdowns for 208 yards total rushing on the ground. So that Texas game, when you got a player like Bijan Robinson, just utilize him, man. And it definitely worked in this game. Like I said, Baylor had trouble stopping the run, and Dave Aranda, that's a good head coach, man. A great defensive mind, but wasn't able to stop, Texas run game. Now Texas, they was able to get just 280 yards total offense, 179 passing, and 101 on the ground. So they couldn't really run the ball, and they couldn't stop it against Texas. So Texas got a good win over Baylor. It's going to be interesting to see what Texas and Baylor do going forward. Dave Aranda still going to be there at Baylor. I don't know. He's a great defensive mind. I know a lot of teams. I know my team would love to have him as a DC, calling defense and everything. But he's a great head coach. But Steve Sarkisian's doing a phenomenal job over there at Texas. And both teams could be on the up and coming. We're going to have to see, going down into, later years. But Texas got something brewing over there with Steve Sarkisian at the helm. Now, who else played? Arkansas. They took a loss to Missouri, 29-27, close game. Like I said, Missouri team, scrappy. You got to be ready to play them. You never know. They can come up on you and almost beat you. Like I said, almost beat Georgia early on in the season. Beat Arkansas team that's been up and down but has gotten better. And, you hate to see it for Sam Pittman. I think he's a heck of a coach. And like I said, I keep saying Arkansas is going to be a team to watch out for, especially in the SEC. And I'm not mistaken, I think we're going to get ready to, division. So it's going to be everybody playing everybody in the SEC. And that's going to be fun, and definitely have to look out, all the other SEC teams got to look out for Arkansas because they can scrap with anybody. They're just as talented. So it's going to be interesting. KJ Jefferson, he had 205 yards with 2 touchdowns. Raheem Sanders didn't get a touchdown. He only was able to get 47 yards, and then KJ Jefferson was only able to get 38. So Missouri shut down the run game. That's what they did in the matchup, and that's pretty good. To be able to stop their run game. Arkansas got one of the best rushing attacks in the league. So Missouri, hats off to Missouri, was able to shut down the run. That's Arkansas's primarily scheme, being able to stop the run. If you stop the run with Arkansas, you're doing good. So uh, congrats to Arkansas. Missouri beating Arkansas. Who else played? Nebraska beat Iowa 24-17. Nebraska, if I'm not, they just got Matt Rule as their head coach. So hopefully he could turn Nebraska around. Nebraska used to be a powerhouse back in the day, and I know that the Cornhuskers want to get back to winning football, and we'll have to see what they do with Matt Rule. Being the new head coach, just came from the not South Carolina, Carolina Panthers, and gonna be interesting to see what happens. With Nebraska, Iowa team always play really really good defense, but offensively they struggled, and Nebraska just had a little bit more scoring capabilities than Iowa does right now. But Iowa definitely has one of the best defenses in the country, so that's interesting to see that matchup. Georgia versus Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech played Georgia pretty good, early on in the game. They jumped out to a 7-0 start, and they was looking really good. But as we all know, Georgia's defense is one of the best. They made adjustments and they clamped down on them. I'm going to look at the stat. Yeah, Georgia shut down Georgia Tech's, run game completely. Georgia Tech was only able to get 40 yards on the ground. That's insane. Let me see team stats. Yeah, rushing wise. Yeah, Georgia Tech's rushing game all the way down. Georgia Tech was only able to get 1.4 average per rush, so they completely shut that down. Meanwhile, Georgia was able to get 6.6 yards per rush. So that Georgia defense and running game is really, really good. You got to be able to stop that if you want to be able to contain Georgia. Stetson Bennett, he exploded at the end of the game. Looking at his stats, he was able to pass for, he only passed for 135 yards with 2 touchdowns. But like I said, the run game is what kept Georgia in this matchup. Kenny McIntosh had 86 yards on the ground on touchdown. Dijon Edwards, 62 yards. Kendall Milton. Georgia leaned on the rush in the game and was able to win this matchup. It seems like Georgia is struggling to throw the ball downfield. I don't know if that's Stetson Bennett, do they trust him to get those plays going? I'm not sure. That's the only knock I got on Georgia right now, besides like turn the ball over and stuff like that. But they did a pretty good job. They didn't turn the ball over this game, if I remember right. But downfield, if I'm a Georgia fan, I would love to see, some deep shots down the field. I know Georgia schemes around their tight ends, and how can you blame them? They got one of the best players in Brock Bowers there, and McConkey has definitely stepped up as well. His stats didn't jump off on the screen in this game, but it was really Kenny McIntosh this game. He really showed out. He had 91 yards receiving, so he definitely stepped up. Brock Bowers had 20 yards and a touchdown. So, like I said, between McConkey and Bowers, then the 2 running backs, Dijon Edwards and McIntosh coming up, and then Kenny Milton. I mean, those 2 guys, Kendall Milton, I'm sorry. Those 3 guys and 2 wide receivers, and then they also have Darnell Washington. So, like I said, Georgia just they're loaded all over the place, like I said, but they win the games with their defense and that run game. They can always lean on that, and I'm not shocked. Everybody's not surprised that Georgia didn't beat Georgia Tech. They beat them 36-14, so they won comfortably. They just started off rough, but nevertheless, Georgia was able to get the victory. Next matchup I'm going to talk about, the big one, Michigan versus Ohio State. I thought this was going to be a game, and it was all the way up to the ending, but Michigan just jumped out, and they just exploded. And this is without Blake Corum. They was able to beat them 45-23. I thought Ohio State was going to be able to, if anything, I thought if this game was going to end like that, like if I was show anybody to score 45-23, you would think that Ohio State won the game, scoring that many points. But no, Michigan felt probably disrespected all season. People weren't looking at them. People was talking about their schedule, that it wasn't, really that strong. Really, Ohio State's wasn't really that strong as well, but, a lot of people was trending on to pick Ohio State. I picked Ohio State to win the game, but Michigan's defense showed up, and then Ohio State's defense didn't show up, Jim Knowles has been doing a phenomenal job at Ohio State, but they just couldn't stop, Michigan run game. They got one of the best rushing attacks in the league. Donovan Edwards, man, he definitely stepped up, since Blake Corum was able to play as much. Donovan Edwards was able to get 216 yards for 2 touchdowns. J.J. McCarthy, the second leading rusher, he had 27 yards and a touchdown. Blake Corum, like I said, he only had 6 yards, but he was sidelined for most of the game. Man, 252 on the ground for Michigan. Ohio State cannot stop the run. J.J. McCarthy had a great day as well. You got to give credit to him. 263 yards with 3 touchdowns. I mean, this guy played his best game all season. He came up in the right time, and he showed out when he needed to, beating Ohio State. I did not see this coming, guys. I thought this would have been a close game, but if it was the score that it was, I thought Ohio State would have pulled it out. But Cornelius Johnson had a great day. 160 yards with 2 touchdowns, man. Loveland, he had 45 yards and a touchdown. I mean, Michigan just played lights out, on both sides of the ball, a lot of people thought this was going to be competitive all the way through to the final second, and it was a good game going back and forth, but Michigan pulled it out in the end. C.J. Stroud, let me look at his stats. Yeah, he had a great day passing the ball, guys. He threw for 349 with 2 touchdowns, but Ohio State, for the most part, Travion, I might be, butchering his last name, but running back for Ohio State, he had 83 yards. So, but like I said, they didn't get any rushing touchdowns, and Ohio State has been struggling, to run the ball this season. And like I said, kind of hurts that they didn't have, Travion Henderson, but Meion Williams was playing really good as well, but he only got 34 yards. So Michigan stopped the run. C.J. Stroud, even though he threw for 349, he threw 2 interceptions, and turnovers can cost you in a game. Mika Ibuka had a great day. He had 125 yards and a touchdown. Marvin Harrison Jr., he had a great day, 120 yards and a touchdown. So it's not like, Ohio State didn't put up the yardage. It just didn't show up on the stat sheet. Like I said, you got to give credit to Michigan's defense. I thought Ohio State was going to have the advantage offensively and defensively, but the defense couldn't hold this Michigan rushing game, and Michigan, in my opinion, had the better defense between the two. So Michigan showed up big, man, and the question is going to be now, how far does Ohio State fall? In my opinion, I think they're going to be at number 5, just outside of the playoffs. But who knows? They might decide to put both of them in there. But they lost by 22, and that's a big victory over Ohio State. If it was a little bit closer, I probably think they'll keep them in there. But we'll have to see how far Ohio State falls down. So TCU beat Iowa State 62-14. What can I say? TCU just continues to win games, guys. Max Duggan, man, 212 yards with 3 touchdowns. Chandler Morris, he had a touchdown. Who else had one? Condre Miller, 72 yards, 2 touchdowns, man. Garrett Riley got that TCU offense, playing at a high level, man. They just keep putting up a lot of points. Definitely a guy that I think Alabama would try to consider to come to Alabama, man. He's a great offensive mind. Like I said, the younger brother, Lincoln Riley, over there at USC, and great offensive mind, man. Their head coach is a good coach as well, man. They always find a way to win, and Iowa State, like I said, a team, has been struggling this season, not really that good, but TCU was able to get the victory, and now they're 12-0, like I said, sitting right there in the playoffs. They continue to win out. They're in there. Who else won? Yeah, LSU lost to Texas A&M 38-23. Texas A&M played their best game all season, man. This is a team that lost to Appalachian State early on the season. Just had a rocky start, but finally showed up against LSU, a team at LSU. Was pretty good. Had two earlier losses, lost to Florida State, Florida State team that's really good. So that was a good loss, in my opinion. But then lost to Tennessee. Tennessee was a great team this season as well. So their two losses, they was able to beat my Alabama Crimson Tide. So LSU is deserving, to be one of the best teams and earned their shot to play Georgia. They still in there to play Georgia, but maybe they got caught looking ahead, to Georgia because they went on the road to Texas A&M and Texas A&M took it to them, man. They out physical them on both sides of the ball. It just, I don't know if Jaden Daniels is injured. I know he went down, but they was hitting him hard, man. He was able to pass for 189 yards, but he didn't get recorded touchdown. He had 84 yards on the ground with no touchdown. But John Emery was the guy. He had 55 yards for 3 touchdowns. So Texas A&M had problems stopping him. Malik Neighbors, 69 yards. But yeah, man, they completely beat them. They beat them down, man. And Texas A&M. And another question, I was wondering why they didn't start Connor Wayman in the last couple of games. This guy came in one of those games. I can't remember which one, but he played really, really good. He only had 155 yards, but he was able to get 2 touchdowns. A-Chain, though, LSU cannot stop the run game. Devin A-Chain had 215 yards for 2 touchdowns. Like I said, this guy, he get loose, it's over with. He had Texas A&M was able to get 274 on the ground, so LSU had a hard time stopping the run. Moose Muhammad got loose with 94 yards and touchdown. Evan Stewart 42 yards. So this Texas A&M, team just stepped up and was able to get the victory, and shock LSU before they go into the SEC championship game. It's been a while since a SEC team with 3 losses was able to get to the SEC championship game, and here we are with LSU going in there. But Brian Kelly, he's done a phenomenal job so far this season. It's going to be interesting to see what he does going forward. He has a tall task going against this Georgia team. Like I said, it's going to be tough, to go against that team. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. The last couple of times LSU has played Georgia, though, they beaten them. I think they beat them in 2018. Georgia went to LSU, lost that game. And then LSU played them in the SEC championship in 2019. And LSU just blew them out the water. So I know Georgia fans are looking to get their revenge and to go against this LSU team. But that was a fun matchup. Southern Cal beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame just didn't have an answer for Caleb Williams and company. Caleb Williams, this guy, in my opinion, he's probably going to win the Heisman. I'm just saying, in my opinion. 232 yards with 1 touchdown. He had a great day on the ground. 35 yards, but he was able to get 3 touchdowns on the ground. I think it's his at this moment, man. Jordan Addison, he only had 45 yards receiving, but and Mario Williams only had 37. But it was the Caleb Williams show. This guy is phenomenal. Like I said, in my opinion, the Heisman is his to lose. I think it's going to be between him and Drake May, but Drake May just lost yesterday at North Carolina, so I think it's his to take. Team stats. Yeah, Southern Cal got 436 total yards of offense. Notre Dame got 408. Notre Dame got 318 passing, but only got 90 rushing. Southern Cal got 232 passing. They got 204 on the ground. So the run game for, Caleb Williams was the run game. And USC was able to get the victory. Like I said, they continue to win out. They win the Pac-12 championship, they're definitely in. With TCU, if they win the Big 12 championship, they're in. And I think it's going to be Michigan and then Georgia. So it's going to be interesting. It's still football to play. But both of these teams are doing what they're supposed to do. That's how they rank besides LSU. They dropped the ball there. They probably, not probably, I'm pretty sure they killed their chances again in the playoffs, But if they had pulled it off, man, if they had to beat Texas A&M and then some kind of way beat Georgia, there definitely would have been, how could you not? They'd probably be the first 2-loss team to make the playoffs. But But both teams are improving. Jimbo has some things he got to fix, but a huge victory over LSU. Top 5 ranked team. Texas A&M has a knack for doing that, beating teams and stuff like that, in the top 5. I think it's been a while, but they've done it. So, interesting matchup. The next one, though, South Carolina versus Clemson. Dabo Swinney, he's a good coach, but he doesn't want to dabble in the transfer portal. And I think he might want to consider that. DJ Ugalele, this guy has been struggling all season. Definitely not living up to the standard, that we all thought he was going to be. He only had 99 yards passing. Like I said, Will Shipley was the offense, 132 yards or a touchdown. DJ Ugalele, when he runs, he had 51 yards and a touchdown. But, just a Clemson team that's just, struggling right now. Early on the season, I thought they had one of the best, defensive fronts, but their secondary is not that good. Spencer Rattler had a massive day passing the ball, man. 360 yards passing with 2 touchdowns. Jaheim Bell had 29 yards touchdown. It just the Spencer Rattler show, man. And Antoine Wells Jr. had a good day, 131 yards for 2 touchdowns. They're playing Beamer ball right now. And South Carolina, they shocked a lot of people this season. In my opinion, they're the best overall, turnaround team this season. I know a lot of people say, well, they got 4 losses. Yeah, but South Carolina is doing a heck of a turnaround, man. They shocked some teams this season. And Shane Beamer got something going on over there in South Carolina, man. They beat 2 top 10 teams back to back. They beat Tennessee. They beat Tennessee bad, and then they turn around and beat Clemson. The most improved team, in my opinion. They deserve a reward, man. Like South Carolina, they doing good right now. Hats off to them, man. Most turnaround. Other teams are just doing less with more talent. South Carolina is showing everybody, like, you can do it if you put your mind to it and you scheme right with the right coaches, man. It just nobody picked South Carolina to win this game, and boy, did they show out, man. So hats off to South Carolina, man, in my opinion. Like I said, Juju McDowell had a good. They just that was in my opinion, that was the bright spot of the Saturday. I love college football, but South Carolina just doing some things, man. Oregon lost to Oregon State. When I saw the game a little bit, I saw Oregon was in the lead, but Bo Nix, he had a great day, 327 yards for 2 touchdowns. Whittington, he had 81 yards and a touchdown, but just wasn't enough. Cota, he had 136 yards and a touchdown. Franklin had 78 yards and a touchdown. So they was in the game, but Oregon State, man, they just came out, and they basically just ran the ball because Gulbertson, he only had 60 yards passing, so that wasn't good. But Martinez had 103 yards. Noah had 21 yards and a touchdown, and Fenwick had 53 yards and a touchdown. So, my opinion, man, this is a rivalry matchup, and I thought Oregon was going to get the victory, but they lost to Oregon State 38-34. And that pretty much, I thought Oregon could have been, one of the teams just outside that can possibly get in the playoffs if, they had to beat Oregon State. But at this point, I think Oregon's played themselves out the college football playoff picture. Tennessee, they came back with a vengeance. I thought Vanderbilt was going to be able to hang with them, but no, Tennessee showed out, beat them 56-0. Vanderbilt laid an egg, man, and let me see, Joe Milton, like I said, 147 yards, a touchdown. Wright had 160 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns. Sampson, he had 131 and a touchdown. Jabari Small, 79 yards with 2 touchdowns. Fant, a touchdown. So this Tennessee offense just continues to explode, man. It's very, very hard to stop. And I knew kind of going into the matchup, like Vanderbilt is playing good, but there's a possibility that Tennessee comes out of nowhere. You got to give credit to Tennessee's defense, man. McCullough, he had a tackle for loss. Haddon had a tackle for loss. D. Williams forced a fumble. Who else? Walker had a tackle for loss. I mean, this defense just stepped up, man. Page, T. West. I mean, all those guys. They had 10 tackles for loss. So that front, man, they just was able to get back there, and you got to tip your hat off the Tennessee defense. Uh, the secondary has been struggling all season, and Tennessee actually has one of the best rushing defenses in the country as well. Vanderbilt was able to get 147, but still, man, they shut the pass down. Swan was only able to get 79 yards passing. Uh, Davis, he had 60 yards, and Mike Wright had 50 yards, but they was able to get 147. But Tennessee's defense, man, it don't show up in the scoreboard for Vanderbilt about the yardage. I mean, Tennessee probably had their best defensive game all season. They had a great one against Kentucky, but they did what they're supposed to do. They played good offensively and defensively. Complete game for Tennessee, and look to see what they do next season. And probably gonna play. See who they're gonna play in the bowl game. They're bowl eligible, and they should get a hot ranking. A New Year's Six bowl game. It's gonna be interesting to see who they play up against, and whoever they play against, they got to deal with that Tennessee offense. So Penn State beat Michigan State 35-16. Like I said, Michigan State is a team that's struggling right now. Got a lot of players suspended, so I expected Penn State to get that victory. Penn State, like I said, in my opinion, the third best team in Big Ten East, and their court, Sean Clifford, like I said, guy's been up and down, but he was able to get 4 touchdowns this game, 202 yards. So he was basically the offense, for the most part. Kay Allen was able to get 82 yards, and Singleton was able to get 78 yards. They didn't record a touchdown, though. Just passing was a good day. Lambert Smith had 83 yards and a touchdown. Johnson had 62 yards and a touchdown. Singleton had a touchdown. So Sean Clifford had a great day passing the ball on Michigan State's defense. So good victory there. Kansas State beat Kansas 47-27. Like I said, Kansas played pretty good this season, but Kansas State just on another level right now. And like I said, let me see who played at quarterback for them. Was it Adrian Martin? No, Howard. He had 213 yards with 2 touchdowns. And Deuce Fun, once again, one of the great running backs, 147 yards on the ground with a touchdown. Giddens had a touchdown as well. So I expected Kansas State to get that victory. Washington beat Washington State 51-33. I expected that. Utah beat Colorado 63-21. Like I said, Colorado's not really that good. I heard that maybe Deion Sanders might be going to Colorado. I'm not sure about that. I heard he was also linked to South Florida, but I don't know. Speaking of South Florida, they lost to UCF 46-39. Gus Malzahn got a victory over a really, really bad South Florida team, So it was expected for them to win. But South Florida put up 39 against them, but UCF was able to pull out the victory 46. Was 46 points. King, he had 129 yards and 2 touchdowns. Plumlee had 73 yards and a touchdown. But Rice Plumlee, man, got some wheels on him, man. 133 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Harvey had 74 yards and a touchdown. So great win for Gus Malzahn over there at UCF. Who else played? Kentucky beat Louisville 26-13. Let me see. Will Levis, he had 188 yards for 2 touchdowns. So, and Chris Rodriguez had 120 yards on the ground. Put them in good position. He didn't get a touchdown, but they was able to get the victory. Key had a touchdown. Brown, like I said, and then 2, those were the 2 touchdowns that they was able to get. They was able to beat, Louisville team. You got to watch out for their offense. They're a run-heavy offense. And let me look at the stats. How much running yards did they get? Yeah, Louisville was able to get 164 on the ground. That's pretty good. But passing, Louisville didn't really do that good. But like I said, they're primarily a run team. They got 309 total offense. And Kentucky was able to get 46, 180 passing, and 158 on the ground. So Kentucky beat Louisville, their in-state rival. And who else played? Maryland. Maryland beat Rutgers 37-0. Rutgers not that good. West Virginia beat Oklahoma State. I thought Oklahoma State might have would have pulled that one out, but Garrett Green, he only had 48 yards. Like I said, Jalen Anderson was the guy that helped them win that game. 155 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns. Garrett Green had 47 yards and a touchdown. So West Virginia was able to run the ball effectively against Oklahoma State. Yeah. And of course, they wasn't playing with their quarterback. Garrett Rangel came in. He only had 178 yards. Ollie Gordon only had 136 yards with a touchdown. That's pretty much most of the offense, rushing wise. But yeah, I didn't see that one coming. I thought, Oklahoma State would pull out the victory, but as I can see, Spencer wasn't able to play the game, so that was a shocker in my opinion. But for the most part, that was pretty much all the games. Illinois beat Northwestern 41-3. Northwestern is not really that good, and Illinois is had a pretty good season. With Brett Bielema at head coach position. Duke beat Wake Forest. Like I said, Wake Forest was pretty good in the beginning of the season. Good win for Duke. Duke is not really that good, but they was able to beat Wake Forest. Wake Forest is a team that was ranked at one point, so good win for the Duke program. Minnesota beat Wisconsin. Like I said, both of those teams kind of struggled this season, but Minnesota was able to get the victory. Syracuse beat Boston College 32-23. Oklahoma lost to Texas Tech. Like I said, Oklahoma is just struggling this season. But I got faith that Brent Venables is going to turn that program around. He just got to get the guys in there that he needs. And let me click on that stats for that one. Like I said, Eric Gray had a great game. Great game that game. 161 yards. He didn't record a touchdown though. Dylan Gabriel, he passed for 449 yards. He had an interception, but he got 6 touchdowns. So he had a great day. Marvin Mims had a great day. 162 yards with 2 touchdowns. Theo Weiss, 123 yards and a touchdown. Willis, he had 2 touchdowns. Farouk had a touchdown. So he had a great day passing the ball. And they had a great day on the ground rushing as well. They had 210 yards rushing and 462 yards passing. So they put up a lot of yardage, 672 total yards, total yards of offense. But Texas Tech was able to get them. Texas Tech had 599 yards of offense, 600 yards of offense. They had 436 passing and 163 on the ground. So Texas Tech was very, very, successful in running and passing the ball. You got to tip your hat off the show. He had a great day passing. Bradley had 173 yards receiving with a touchdown. So, Oklahoma got some things they got to work on. Like I said, once Brent Venables, in my opinion, he's going to get that defense going. He just got to get the recruits in. But and of course, offense is going to be fine with Jeff Lebby over there. A great offensive mind. Like I said, Oklahoma's going to be a beast. Once they settle down, they're going to be a problem. I'm telling you. But Miami lost, like I said, a bad Miami team lost to Pittsburgh. Pitt, a team that started off hot, but didn't really live up to the expectations that they wanted to be. This was a great team last season, but like I said, Jordan Addison transferred out and went to USC. So I think that kind of hurt them, not having a guy. But Wayne had a pretty good day. He had 199 yards with 3 touchdowns. So Pitt was able to get the victory. They're 8-4 now. Miami got a lot of things they got to work. Mario Cristobal got some things he needs to fix. Miami 5-7. I thought Tyler Van Dyke was going to do something this season. but they started somebody else, Jay Garcia. He had 92 yards and 2 touchdowns, so they made a change at quarterback. In my opinion, Tyler Van Dyke, a big disappointment. I thought he was going to compete this season. I thought Miami might win the Coastal Division this season, but they fell short. But another guy, once he gets the guys in there, I think he's going to turn that program around. And we all know Mario Cristobal is a line of scrimmage type of guy, and he's going to get the line of scrimmage straight. And you're just going to have to give him time to see what he does. But for the most part, that's all the games. Fun Saturday, guys. A lot of upsets and a lot of things that we expect and everything. A lot of slow. In my opinion, it's really no team right now that really stands out. Offensively or defensively. Everybody has struggled. So it ain't really not one team besides Georgia, like in my opinion, that just stands completely out. Because even Georgia has looked, kind of suspect at times. But just a weird season. I think it's because a lot of teams are getting better, and it's getting tougher and tougher. And gone are the days where you think teams, just going to dominate, because now we have the transfer portal and all this now, and NIL. The game has changed, and it's exciting, man. I hope the NIL doesn't destroy, college football, because in my opinion, I think players should get paid. It just, it seems like certain teams lack, like discipline, and some teams, some players are looking out for themselves. But overall, man, I love the sport. Upsets can happen at any time. That's why I love it. And that's pretty much it. Week 13 was really, really good. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens in these championship games. Then we'll get a better, we'll actually know the playoff picture at this point. But that's all I have for the video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like my video. And I'll definitely be back with more college football content. Thanks, guys, and roll tide.